Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Welcome back for another News I Missed, where I go over News I Missed. Anthony Pompliano of Morgan Creek Capital has always been a big Bitcoin guy, and now he's taking his predictions even further. He's sticking to his guns when it comes to Bitcoin reaching $100,000 by the end of 2021. Though now he's stating that the currency will potentially shoot up to a whopping 450,000 US dollars after that. And the Bitcoin market cap will be comparable with that of gold and hit the trillions. Pompliano is confident in Bitcoin's ability to do well, given that it is a considerably rarer asset when compared to gold and the US dollar, especially the US dollar. As any diehard crypto fan knows, by now Bitcoin is a finite asset. It is mined and extracted, and thus far, roughly 18 million of the available 21 million Bitcoin units have emerged and are in circulation. Still around 6 million of them have been lost and gone forever. This means that only 3 million Bitcoin are left before the entire supply is out in the open. To be fair, the final Bitcoin won't be mined until the year 2140. For those of you who are just hearing that right now, yup, as Bitcoin's reward gets cut in half every 4 years, by the time we get to, I think, the year 2032, it'll be like pennies coming out of the Bitcoin machine at that point, and this is where we get these crazy numbers from. Therefore, it is likely to strike heavy price territory in the coming years, and Pompliano sees its value surpassing that of all competing assets. In addition, he says that since Bitcoin is digital, the currency is likely to reach a much stronger and wider audience, given that more and more people are gaining access to the technologies necessary for taking advantage of Bitcoin and crypto. Gold is still a physical asset and cannot be spread to users in the same way Bitcoin can, which means that BTC's following is likely to be much larger in the end. Eclipse gold. And he said if the gold market is 8 trillion, that puts Bitcoin at 400,000 to 450,000 today. It's better, it's going to capture more market. Pompliano's only concern is that such growth likely won't occur within his lifetime. Is he not going to be around in like 8 years? Okay, meaning he won't be able to. How old is he? Meaning he won't be able to experience the joy of seeing his own prediction coming true. Wow, I don't even know how to. I'm lost. I feel like that Bitcoin will probably hit 400,000 within the next 12 years. I don't not see it hitting that number, and I don't know why he's afraid it won't happen within. What is he expecting to? Is he a robot? I'm not sure what's actually. So the point is, the price predictions are of course all over the place. This is one of the more popular ones. The really weird part about this article, for those of you not looking at the screen, it says Anthony Pompliano thinks Bitcoin's price could reach nearly $500 million, but $500,000's not $500 million, so I assume it was just excitement as the person was writing the article, because there's a big difference between those. If Bitcoin hit $500 million US dollars, I don't know what would we be? I mean, even the prospect of Bitcoin hitting a $250,000 means that the world's economy is just poo-poo. Like, it's just really, really bad. It's not even that it's not doing well, it's almost non-existent. Like, Bitcoin has absorbed large portions of the world's economy. And then you talk about a $500,000 Bitcoin, and then you get to $1 million Bitcoin. If Bitcoin ever does hit $1 million, that means that everything on this planet is denominated in Bitcoin. Like, you walk into a store, Bitcoin's price is hyper stable, and there's just Satoshi prices all over the place. $500 million Bitcoin, that means that everyone has sold all of their real estate, all of their land, everything that could be perceived as having value is then put exclusively into Bitcoin. And we live in a world where properties like 20 Satoshis, and so that's, and the point is, yeah, $500,000 per Bitcoin. I think that'll happen before a lot of us think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to take like 50 years for that to take place. Because once we get to the point where Bitcoin is over that $250,000, that's kind of all she wrote. That means that Bitcoin has started to be adopted by countries and stuff like that as well, and I don't see it really stopping from that point on. So I guess that's the news for that. Let's move on. Next up, KB Kookmin Bank, one of the largest banks in South Korea, has partnered with blockchain venture fund Hashed, and crypto trading platform Cumberland Korea to establish strategic technology cooperation on the custody of digital assets. The company belonging to the partnership state that their inception into the crypto custody business is a response to regulatory changes. These changes encourage them to look into the new business model specifically, which rely on blockchain. They said, combining our insight into the blockchain industry and providing both technical and commercial consultations will eventually open up new doors to consumers. We want to make more money. The announcement from KB Kookmin Bank comes after one of its major rivals, that'll do it, Nonghyup or NH Bank, said early in July that they plan to create crypto custodial services as well. NH Bank's proposed platform will only focus on institutional investors, however. That'll do it. That makes a bit more sense. It always happens from that trickle down kind of thing. If you see that other people are doing it, because I'm pretty sure there are so many discussions happening right now between all of these banks, like, should we do it? Do we want to do it? Are we going to do it? And they kind of wait for someone to actually hop into the game first, which is really weird because you would assume that they would kind of want to be the first ones, but I think it's a lot of fear because the cryptocurrency space is so new, and therefore they're trying to not have pie in their face, mud in their face. What do people have in their faces when they feel embarrassed? But then you always have one major bank who gets into it and everyone else goes, oh yeah, us too, we also want to be down. Kind of the same exact thing with the whole JP Morgan coin, and now Goldman Sachs also like, oh yeah, we also have a coin as well. Who cares? The point is all these banks are desperate to get into Bitcoin, to get into the cryptocurrency space. I'm sure they've had so many discussions over the last couple of years of getting into it, because just even keeping in mind, when you get news and information, especially because all these people know each other, that's how rich people work, that all the major corporations in the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ and Fidelity and all these other places were getting into cryptocurrencies as well, one can only assume that they were probably also like, hey, they're doing it, should we also do it? But now this begins the snowball effect. I mentioned this before in my other video. I think it was for the price predictions. I was like, we have already gotten to the point where you can pay for everything in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is everywhere, and that's not going to stop. And the adoption wave has only gotten stronger because these banks and institutions are looking for other ways to make money. And it comes down to also not only holding Bitcoin, but custodying it for you, because they're going to try and find a way to be able to charge you per month for being able to hold your crypto. Anyway, so another big bank in South Korea is getting into the crypto custody business because of course, and kind of why not at this point. Next up, Binance US, the United States branch of the major crypto exchange Binance, logically, began suffering unforeseen platform issues on the 7th of August, around 15:26 UTC times. That's around 3:26. UTC is, I forgot which time zone that is, resulting in the company temporarily shutting off exchange features. They said, please rest assured that all customer funds are safe, and we will provide a further update soon. At 11:26 Eastern Standard Time, is that like New York time? We noticed our systems not functioning as intended. They said to protect our users, we will be stopping trading, order processing, buying crypto, deposits, and withdrawals. We will let users cancel their orders 30 minutes before we reopen trading. We expect this will take 6 hours. The platform followed up with a subsequent tweet confirming all funds are insured, protected by the company's Secure Asset Fund, also known as SAFU. So apparently Binance US had a downtime. It was down for a little bit. I don't know if it's back up, but according to Binance, so they say, rest assured, all your funds are safe. It was probably a DDoS attack. It could simply be that there was a lot of activity happening during the evening. Do I have it as one of the stories? I think it's one of the stories as well, and it'll kind of maybe explain exactly what happened. But anyway, Binance US was down, or goes down, is down, might no longer be down, but if it was down and you're not down, then I don't know where I was going with that. Then apparently your funds are safe. Is this it? The other story? Yes, here we go. Oh, I'm so glad I put them together. So this makes a little bit more sense. Apparently Bitcoin's price swiftly fell to $11,322 after it zoomed up and reached $11,909 US. So this is the news. This is what we have. The drop apparently came, allegedly, after U.S. jobless claims fell to 1.2 million, even though lawmakers apparently still haven't decided on a second 19 package, which is absolutely insane. Despite the pullback to 11,400, Bitcoin's price remains in an uptrend. So this happened while we were all sleeping. This is why I said this is probably why this happened. It was probably like people lost their minds and were kind of trading all over the place. Bitcoin surged up, looked like it was going to hit 12,000 US dollars, fell down by $600. This is when I assume time-wise. Binance also went down, as we've seen many other crypto exchanges go down before, but apparently minutes later the price is already moving back up. And yeah, so a lot of the drops that we have are just complete nonsense. I'm not really sure, and I also don't really believe that Bitcoin's price would fall by $600 off of jobless claims dropping within the states, because while the states is the states, it's not the entire world. If you haven't been seeing what's happening because of 19 and joblessness around the planet, time to inform yourself, because it is just not looking that good. And yeah, so the point is the price fell and now it's already moving back up because, you know, logic. The fundamentals of Bitcoin haven't really changed, and we're still around like 35 million plus people in the States who don't have a job. So, phew. Yeah. Next up, also in very popular news I missed, Commissioner Hester Peirce has been re-elected to the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, allowing her to serve with the regulatory body for another term. Peirce has a good reputation with the cryptocurrency community because she's been one of the only people to actively try and help us in her own way. I mean, golf clap to her, because we need more people like her on our side. Peirce was renominated last month, then elected during a Senate vote on the 5th of August. This decision will extend her term for another 5 years. She was initially nominated for the SEC under Obama, but was not confirmed until 2017 under Trump. She finally assumed office in January 2018. Beyond her current role, Hester Peirce has additionally served as counsel to the SEC, served as staff attorney. She has also served the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. Wonderful. A lot of people like her. It's nice having people who are at least open to the idea that not all coins should be securities and or fall under the purview of the SEC. Logic is very hard to come by, and I feel like she has a lot of logic within her. So another 5 years with her should hopefully be a very good thing. Yeah, very popular news I missed. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, in one of my favorite news stories in a very long time, Chainlink's cryptocurrency Link is one of the top gainers of the crypto market rally, backed by a strong use case and hype from its Link Marines. Is that what they're called? From its Link Marines community. Since July, Link has surpassed several all-time highs, above $10, and a market cap of $3.5 billion. Wonderful. So far, the coin's impressive performance has inspired analysts to predict an even higher target for Link and rally. Link's price. The volume of daily transactions on Chainlink, Google Trends, active addresses, and price gains are at an all-time high, serving as a critical bullish signal that could take Link as high as $13.37. Ooh. In less than 2 years, Link has risen to be the 9th biggest crypto by market cap, up from the position of 120 in mid-2018. Data from analysis firm Glassnode indicated that the top 1% of Link addresses now own up to 78% of Link, an increase from 78.009% 2 years ago. A Twitter user who's also a Link holder, joked that they are called Link Marines. That Link Marines are probably not aware of the coin's whale situation. He said, "Don't tell Chainlink holders that the top 100 addresses hold 83% of the supply." A few responses to the tweet indicated that such imbalances are not a concern as long as people are making money and they perceive that it could be a good thing for the stability of Link's price. Someone said, "They can't dump at once or screw themselves. Their wallet balances continue to grow while exchange balances plummet, and we have fewer weak hands. It's easier for the price to pump. This is all good. If you're insinuating they can dump the market, I don't agree. This is why this is my favorite news. I mean, in a very long time. Can you imagine if we exchanged the word Link with XRP? How I can feel people's hearts racing faster. I can feel like people frothing at the mouth, because we've had indications before and the numbers that the company who supports XRP the most, Ripple, apparently at one point held around 60% of all the XRP. People lost their biscuits, completely lost their minds. And then we also found out that they had escrowed it for forever and ever. No one knows how long it's going to happen, and that they were completely incapable, at least over the course of it would take them 5 years of monthly dumping all their coins, 5 years to get rid of their entire supply. So when I saw this, and I saw the actual news article title, and I was like, oh boy, I know exactly where this is going. 83% held in 100 addresses, which also then leads me to that same exact discussion I was having with all of you before about Chainlink and Thesis and many of these other coins. These coins seemingly popped out of nowhere in popularity, and then we've had news before, allegedly, maybe, that these are all being huge portions of these coins are held by very few wallets. And then I was like, well, then we get into that discussion, but I know, and I'm sure all of you know in your heart of hearts, people don't actually care. The entire idea of decentralization within the cryptocurrency community means absolutely nothing to 99% of people within the market, because all they care about is how much money they can make. They don't care that the richest people are holding nearly the entire supply of their coins, because they think, and therefore they're assuming, that the richest people are going to have more of an incentive to buy up more of the coin and hold on to these coins, because if they dump the coins, and therefore then everyone loses money and the rich people don't want to do it. So it's totally fine to have the wealth concentrated in a small amount of hands. Does that sound familiar? Of course it does. Anyway, I saw this and thought it was absolutely fantastic. To be 1 bajillion% fair, Chainlink is not the only coin that this has happened for. There are many coins like this, and I mean many, that have a good 70 to 80% of their actual supply being held by the actual creators of the coin, or many other people who got into the coin early, air quotes, and no one finds any problem with it, because they all know that if news like this actually comes out, then their coin is no better, air quotes, than XRP, which has gotten so much slack and flack and all that other stuff over the last 5 or so years. But if you give them the actual numbers like this, they'll simply go, well, it's not a bad thing. Like, at least we're not a centralized company. But when you talk about the actual centralization, this is centralization. You know how I'm pretty sure you've seen the documentaries or the news. I think 7 people, 10 people who own, I think, more than 50% of all the wealth in the entire world. Now imagine the 100 richest people on the planet. It's just a cycle. This is why Bitcoin is important, and why getting into Bitcoin is very important, especially for people around the world who do not have access to traditional financial systems. Like, there is, how do I put this into words without having to ramble on? Nope, I'm not gonna even say it, because it would just cause another 30-minute video portion at this point. Anyway, 83% of all of Chainlink is held by 100 addresses. I assume that number is going to continue to rise in the long term. We will probably have news by the end of this year, or during the course of a major bull run, that I'll slide back. I'll say 89 to 90 to 91% of all Chainlink is held within these 100 addresses, and no one will have any problem at all. And I'll give you a free psychic reading. You know when people will have a problem with this? When the bull market's over and the price has dropped again, people will complain that the people who are holding the huge supply didn't do anything better to keep the price up. And that's when, boys and girls, I promise you, or at least this is what I've seen before in the past, when Chainlink pumps, when the cryptocurrency market has a crazy bull market, everyone will be hyper euphoric and only care that they're making money. The people who did not cash out when they should have cashed out will start losing money as the market begins to drop. And people will figure out ways to try and get back at Link or the creators of Link, or try to find a way to sue them or say that their coin was a security the entire time. I guarantee it, because that's how all markets work. Same exact thing with that guy who sued Ripple when he lost $350 US. Anyway, we'll see, because, you know, that's how time works. And without further, 100 addresses. And it's not just Chainlink. Like, that's not even me focusing on Chainlink. There are multiple coins that are just like this. There's a reason why I don't own a lot of different cryptocurrencies. People keep asking why I don't own portions of these things. It's because I can see through the madness, and it's just a repeat of other cycles within the cryptocurrency market. That's just me, though. Next up, also in Y news, Representative Nathan Toman believes that an official North Dakota coin could potentially help the state's struggling economy because of 19. He said, "That was my hope, but we're a little bit late to the game on doing something like that," Toman told Inforum regarding 19 and the potential state-sanctioned blockchain asset. Backed by aspects such as state-held precious metals and property, Toman told Inforum he sees that such an asset positioned as more of a store of value than a traditional currency. He additionally believes that it could function in tandem with loans and investing. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to say the name of a cryptocurrency that could do all of these things that we already have right now without having to create a North Dakota coin. That was 3 seconds. Did you say it? Hope you got it right. Regulatory authorities put up resistance against Toman's North Dakota coin effort, although the representative retains a positive outlook for the future of the endeavor in light of the current economy and 19. For those of you who were not here in 2018 and 19, we had an enormous amount of countries, companies, institutions, and I assume other states as well, maybe we just didn't get that news, who were all clamoring. It was a good 35 different entities, 35 across the globe, who all mentioned the idea of creating a currency or a cryptocurrency that would be based off of other frivolous things. And let us not forget the Petro of Venezuela, who actually managed to create theirs. Instead of, can you imagine for a second, back it all up. I understand that Bitcoin's slow. Imagine if these countries and companies and banks and institutions and states all accumulated Bitcoin. As it appears right now, according to logic, Bitcoin is going to remain the #1 coin for a while. Imagine if they all accumulated tons of Bitcoin and then created a new currency based off of Bitcoin, or as the actual collateral, it was Bitcoin. Imagine if 35 entities had come forward, said that they were all going to do this. Bitcoin's price would, of course, have risen, but it would be incredibly stable because other companies and other countries would have also, and other states would have gotten into this as well. Now imagine them all creating a currency that's collateralized by a very stable Bitcoin that is also Bitcoin's deflationary, which means that these other currencies that are pegged to Bitcoin would also be incredibly stable and would be more stable than the US dollar. But logic doesn't work that way, and everybody wants to create their own coin. And this is why we have 10,000 altcoins, because everyone believes in their heart of heart that they can simply mimic Bitcoin or create a new Bitcoin or try to do a brand new situational so-and-so Bitcoin that is better than everything else. We've had coins pegged to property. We've had coins pegged to precious metals. None of them work. No one uses them. It's like, imagine you're hungry and I'm like, hey, I have a sandwich in the fridge, and you're like, I'm hungry, and I'm like, there's food right there, but I wish I could create something that would feed me. Dude, there's a sandwich right there. Bread and lettuce I must create so that I can eat today. And I'm like, dude, there's a sandwich right there. Imagine if everyone just paid attention. But my thing is, this is just me. This is what I believe. I think at some point they won't be able to. It's not that they're ignoring Bitcoin, it's that they're trying to find ways to circumvent Bitcoin. Why use Bitcoin when I can make something else and profit from it as well? Once again, this is why we have so many altcoins. If logic was strong as it should be, they would have all adopted Bitcoin at least 2-3 years ago and started pegging things to it so that Bitcoin remained super stable. We got away from the US dollar, which is inflationary, and things would just simply, imagine creating a currency that would have completely circumvented. Imagine not having to wait for a stimulus check because your state already has something that's pegged to Bitcoin. That also this discussion can go on forever and ever, but apparently they were trying to make a North Dakota coin as opposed to, once again, just adopting Bitcoin. I give it 5 years. My predictions usually range a bit longer than it actually takes. There's going to, and tons of people have said this, tons of analysts have also come forward saying this, that they believe behind the scenes that countries are buying up Bitcoin. Maybe not as much as people believe, but they're still buying up fractions of them. And at some point, some nation state is going to come forward and announce that we can't do this anymore. Our currency is complete garbage. We're actually pegging our so-and-so to Bitcoin. And that's going to be the huge run-up to the infamous $1 million Bitcoin. But of course, we have time for this. It's going to happen at some point. They're going to have to come forward and say it because, yeah. Anyway, that's the North Dakota coin news. And without further ado, we're going to move on. Next up, where are the words? There we go. State-owned commercial banks in China are the latest organizations to come to commerce test, of the national digital currency. The digital currency is being used as these banks for transactions, and they are also considering how it can work offline. Ooh, scary. Despite these developments, the official data from the main launch of China's digital currency still remains unknown. Four state-owned commercial banks in China have begun large-scale internal testing of the digital yuan on Thursday, according to the South China Morning Post, which cited the report from the 21st Century Business Herald. The banks include the Agricultural Bank, the Construction Bank, the Industrial and Commercial Bank, and the Bank of China. The report informed that these banks were testing China's digital currency in popular cities like Shenzhen, together with the People's Bank of China, the country's central bank. The participants used an app in testing the digital currency. They were able to credit their accounts, withdraw, and perform other functions after registering with their phone numbers. We had news last year that China's coin would have launched. I think it was the beginning of this year, and then this was supposed to coincide with the release of. I forgot about Libra. Wow, I haven't said Libra in a while. Libra was supposed to have launched in June of this year. We see that didn't quite work out as planned. China's coin was planning on launching before Libra as a haha gotcha kind of thing, but it didn't apparently work out. And I think the news that we got in April or May was that this would be launching in November. I shrugged. I mean, it'll happen at some point. They're not going to release this. Black Mirror. But yeah, so the point is, this is going to be coming out very soon, and apparently they're testing it amongst the banks. Once again, if you think that the US hasn't created their own cryptocurrency or digital coin, and hasn't been testing it amongst the largest banks in the States, you are sadly mistaken. Just watch the news for how things go. Imagine, no, there's no way that China is the only country doing this right now. They're all testing it. It may not be released to the public for a while, but they're making sure that the actual infrastructure works. Anyway, that's that news, and we're going to move on. Next up, On Wednesday, the 29th of July, news I missed, Fidelity Digital Assets, a subsidiary of Boston-headquartered American multinational financial services. Have you heard of the phrase tooting your own horn? A subsidiary of Boston-headquartered American multinational financial services company Fidelity Investments, or just Fidelity, released the first report in its Bitcoin investment thesis series. As of the 31st of December of last year, Fidelity Investments had $8.32 trillion in assets under management, 3.2 trillion of which were discretionary managed assets. On the 15th of October 2018, Fidelity announced via a press release the launch of a new company, Fidelity Digital Assets, which would offer enterprise quality custody and trade execution services for cryptocurrencies, pretty much for rich people. Tom Jessup, president of Fidelity, had this to say at the time. We started exploring blockchain. We liked it. We wanted to make extra money understanding cryptocurrencies. The creation of Fidelity Digital Assets is to make more money in the long term. The report released today is titled Bitcoin Investment Thesis, an inspirational. I thought it was aspirational. Wait, this one says an aspirational. This one says an inspirational. Bitcoin Investment Thesis, an inspirational store of value, and it was written by Ria Butoria, who is the director of research at Fidelity. Here's some key highlights of the report. It says, the reason for the phrase, it is aspirational. The reason for the phrase an aspirational store of value is that although many investors want to see Bitcoin as a store of value since it meets the basic requirements, it is not yet widely accepted as such. The good thing about Bitcoin's price volatility is that it is a catalyst that attracts attention, development, and innovation. A good store of value needs to be scarce, and fortunately, by design, Bitcoin is super low interest rates, which are in some cases even negative around the world. High amounts of monetary and fiscal stimulus and deglobalization are all responsible for increasing awareness and adoption of Bitcoin. And also, for those of you who do not know, there's something called the Great Wealth Transfer, or the greatest transfer of wealth in our lifetime, is expected to happen over the next couple of years. It's expected that the people who are soon to pass, saying that in the nicest way, will be transferring large amounts of money to the younger generation. It is expected that, I think within the US alone, I think $30 trillion worth of assets will be transferred. Anything that holds value. That could be gold, silver, diamonds, rings, heirlooms, property, anything within that encompasses that, totaling around 30 trillion just for the states, will be transferred to younger people. We've had discussion before, and I'm pretty sure major banks are also having this as well, and this is why they're also adopting cryptocurrencies, is that younger people tend to, not all the time, tend to find digital assets to be more attractive than gold and silver or palladium or diamonds, the same exact way that they are actively investing more in stocks that are tech stocks, as opposed to things that have to do with Disney or commodities or people buying things about pears and all this other stuff. So here's the actual thesis right here. Bitcoin investment thesis, an aspirational store of value. I assume some of you may want to read this. I will try my darndest. Gonna try to remember to put this in the oh gosh, what is it called? The little box, the box with the words, word box, description box below. What's wrong with me? Description box below, so that all of you can read it, because I assume it's going to be, once again, this is from Fidelity. $8 trillion in assets is an enormous amount of money. They're also into custody and cryptocurrency, and they also want to, so it's Fidelity and NASDAQ haven't really come out with their news, but I assume they're still going to do it. They wanted to have cryptocurrency trading platforms, and I assume maybe 19 was a bit of a hindrance for them. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of money that's going to flow into digital assets over the coming years, and it seems logical to us, but I think a lot of people read these things and they're like, what? So the future is very bright, especially when you have all these rich people just sloshing around money into the market. Yeah. I'm going to try and remember. I'm terrible with things like this. I'm just always scatterbrained, as it were. And to finish things off, QuantStamp, a company that has been auditing Cardano's code for the past 2 months, believes that after Shelley, Cardano will trail only Ethereum as a smart contract platform, dwarfing its arch rival, Tezos. QuantStamp CEO Richard Ma told CoinDesk that in his opinion, Cardano has some of the best code in the blockchain space. He believes it is on par with Ethereum 2.0's Prism. He says it's clear they've put a lot of internal effort to solidify or to solidly test and properly engineer the code, and it really shows through the smooth launch. We also recently audited Prism for Ethereum 2.0, and we would say that in terms of quality, similar to Prism, is one of the best code bases we have seen. Wow. Discussing Shelley, QuantStamp communications manager Jay Harrell told Cointelegraph that by the end of 2020, they expect Cardano to be only second to Ethereum in popularity. Wow. As a smart contract platform, Harrell also feels that Cardano dwarfs Tezos as a proof-of-stake blockchain. I don't even have to read the quote because it was probably just said right there. Those are pretty big words. I think only time will tell. I think if we got to a point where Cardano could rival, air quotes, Ethereum, we would be looking at maybe a $10 ADA. That because, you know, one would assume that it would move up in the rankings, and therefore moving up in the rankings would be moving up in the price. Yeah, I've seen a couple of these articles floating around, and they've not just been by QuantStamp, they've been by other people who believe that apparently Cardano is poised to really go into the top coins and kind of just stay there. I mean, we'll see, because that's how time works, but it is still quite fascinating to even think of. Like, imagine a $10 Cardano. That would make a lot of people very, very rich. Very rich. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila Dahan, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia569, Moonman High XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Storio, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moher Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy, 3D, Damien, Set, Suna, Nick, Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxes, Nick, Mon, Jellavori, Anthony, Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, Hitch Test Every Day, Almost Bit Myself, and Kyle Skip Leg Day. Yes, to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monks Corner Staff, Arfmedic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Macho, Nisa, On Crypto with Lano, Crayola, Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your Patreon support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel by clicking the little join button below. Thank you to everyone who is a supporter in their own way. And thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. At the moment, the dip that we had is no longer dipped. It has undipped. I don't think that's the phrasing for it. Bitcoin is currently down, but only by 0.53%. That entire fall down that we had has been just about disappeared. The other altcoins are also moving up in tandem, as well as they probably expect Bitcoin to continue rising higher. Chainlink is currently up by 6%. Monero's up by a smidge. Wow, that's a lot of volatility. Dash is up slight bit. IOTA is up slight bit. Lend is up a slight. All the DeFi coins are also, rather always, pumping because the hype train is full of coal. BitTorrent token is also pumping. I mean, it's 2020. I think anything's possible at this point. Yeah, I assume as the price has almost completely regained its value, that maybe now is the day that we're going to retest 12,000? Question mark? Because apparently that's the really big thing that we have to pass through. But that's a pretty good indication of a recovery because nearly all the losses have been completely recovered. So whoever bought that dip last night, I dip my hat to you. That made absolutely no sense. I do hope that you all enjoyed do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I'm going to try to remember. Sorry. Thank you all once again for watching and listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.